Yeah, regarding this test class, if anybody has anything, you can ask me so that I can answer. So yesterday we have covered and practical about load balancer, how we can distribute the traffic between different instances, as well as auto scaling. We have seen in auto scaling, especially we have seen like how to configure and how it gonna increase, as well as what are the scaling policies like dynamic scaling policies and predictive and step and simple scaling policies. We have seen it. So that is all about EC2 instance. Okay, and today we will see another service. So if I come down here, if I go to networking and content delivery, so here we'll see Route 53 today. Today and tomorrow we will cover this Route 53. What it will do, all these things we'll cover. So basically, before going to Route 53, in general, suppose I have application. Consider, okay, let me duplicate this tab. Go back to my EC2 instance. So now consider my application is deployed into this instance. Okay, let me start it. So now I want to access my application from the browser. If we have like name like this Amazon.com or this name if I have, I can type in browser, I can able to access, right? But I don't have any domain name, right? So now this they will call domain name, DNS name or domain name, whatever the name they will call it. So now here in this EC2 instance, my application is running. So now I'm accessing my application via public IP address in the browser, right? So I can able to access my application via public IP. So let me copy. So let me paste it here. So now I can able to access my application. Is it a good way to give this IP address to everyone? Simple. Like suppose facebook.com is there. Instead of facebook.com, they have given IP address to access their application. Is it the good way? No, right? Everyone they can't remember this 34.229.157.148. These IP address it's difficult to keep in mind every time whenever you're accessing application from the browser, right? So what they are doing, they are giving some fancy names like Amazon.com, Facebook.com, WhatsApp.com. So whatever the application you are trying to access from the web browser, you're seeing the name only. You're not seeing the IP address, right? So how they're routing to the backend. So suppose if I enter Facebook.com, it is opening the Facebook web page only. So how it is getting routed to this request? Whenever I'm entering some name from the browser, how it is reaching to my particular application. So now instead of this IP address, I want some name for my application. I don't want to access application from web browser using IP address. I want to have some name. So that name you need to buy somewhere. Like third party registers will be there. DNS name providers. Like GoDaddy, you might have seen some ads in your like whenever you're watching some movies or TV. GoDaddy is there. Like there are different providers we have. Whenever you want to have some name for your application, you need to buy some third party vendors. It's not a free that it's not that simple like go in and create and like ganesh.com or dev.com. It's not that simple. So you have to purchase that domain name for your application. You have to register the domain name. That means no one should use that domain name. Suppose facebook.com is there. If other person have registered before facebook.com, that name it will not went to this facebook.com company. So because that name itself, some other application is using it already. So be careful whenever you're registering a domain name from any third party vendors, it should be unique. That means no one has been taken already. It has to be unique whenever you're purchasing the domain names from the any vendors. So why I'm telling in the sense, so basically whenever we are entering something here, Amazon.com or something, anything, what this browser it will do means it will take the name here. In background, it will route this name to IP address. Just remember what are the names we are entering in the browser. These names for our understanding only. It's not system level understanding. System like servers or virtual machines or institutions, they will understand only IP address. They will not understand the names. Just remember, they will not the servers or virtual machines, whatever it may be. They will not understand the IP names. Only they will understand IP address only. So it just a identification purpose. The name you are saying it in the browser, but in background IP address is the matter. So the how this browser it is taking this name and it is converting to IP address in the sense using this DNS service. So in route 53 in AWS cloud, these like DNS service, domain name service or domain name system. What are the name you want to call? You can call. This is the one service available in AWS cloud. If you want to purchase any names, if you want to route your traffic from web browser to your EC2 instance using the names, all those things can be done via this Route 53. So how it will work basically, in real time, how it will work generally, like let me cover this one. So so if you see in this example, right? So how DNS it will work in the sense, suppose from the browser you are entering something. Okay. Step one, you entered say here cisco.com is there. So I have entered in the browser cisco.com. So whenever you enter that cisco.com, first step it will reaches to internal domain server. IDS will be there, like in background, whichever the application you are accessing from the browser. First step, wherever nearest DNS server will be there, domain name server. It will check whether what are the name you have entered, whether it is correct or not. That step it will do at internal DNS server level. Okay. And then second step, it will go to root level domain servers. So these like top level domain services. So it will check here in this root level domain servers. It will contain all the DNS names. What are the name? See that names amazon.com, facebook.com, these names are in software terms they will call DNS names. Just remember, in software terms they will call domain name servers, domain name system. They will call that names, they will call like that. So first step it will check internal server, then it will go to this one root level domain. If if cisco.com is able to find from this root level domain, immediately you will get the response. If not, it will go to next step again, top level domain, TLD they will call top level domains. Here only the names with .com, .edu, .go, government, .mil, these .coms, these domain names will be available in this top level domain. So then we have entered cisco.com. So it will reach us to this top level domain. Then only .com only it will reaches, not cisco.com. Let's remember till here .com it reach, but cisco.com is not able to find in here as well. Then again it will go to second level domain servers. So then it will identify here. Then it will give the response to internal DNS server. Then you will get the response. This entire process, whenever you entered amazon.com in the browser, within fraction of seconds it will done. This much, like what, how much time I am taking to explain these steps, right? It's not that take that much time. Within fraction of seconds, this entire process will be done. So whenever in browser, if you are entering something, this much process it will done in background. In background, we will see how to configure our domain names in this Route 53 and all. Don't worry. In general terms, how this DNS works in a sense, this is how it will work. First step, internal domain server, Then it will go to root level domain servers. It will search for cisco.com. If not, it will go to top level domain. Then it will identify that only .com it can identify, but cisco.com is not able to identify. Then it will go to second level domain. Here it will identify the cisco.com. Then it will give the response to internal DNS server. Based on that, it will get the response. So other than that, see, suppose I'm entering some domain name here in the browser. Suppose I'm entering like ganesh.com I'm entering. Okay. So if I'm entering ganesh.com, see, it is taking some time because it is going and checking the servers like internal domain server, root level domain, top level domain, second level domain. Then it is giving something response. So other if it, instead of this Amazon.com, if I give some ADF or something, I'm entering. See here, this domain name itself, it's not able to identify. In all the places about in DNS how it will work, so in all these steps, it's not able to identify this domain name. So whenever you're entering something in a browser, this process will be done in background. Just remember, this is how it will work in DNS in general, not only for Route 53. I'm not teaching about Route 53 here. General terms, how DNS it will work. Any domain name, if you're entering in the browser, this much process will be done in the background. Okay. So these are about basics. So whenever you're saying something like IP address, like this one, like domain name in the browser. So what it does means, suppose here I have Amazon.com is there. Suppose if I go to today's deals. Now this is my domain name, right? In the browser, you can able to see https dot colon www.amazon.com slash Black Friday question mark reference equal to nev underscore cs dot gb. This is the name I can able to see. So what is this https? What is colon? What is this www.com? All those things. This is the example. Okay, here whenever you see last .com or .in .gov, whatever the name you're seeing it at last, that is like root level domain. As DNS I explained here, these is the root level domain. What are the things you are seeing at last in your URL? That is like root level domain. Before to this, you will have some name, right? Now I have Amazon.com is there. That is like top level domain. That is a top level domain. So before to that, you will see www dot. This is like second level domain. And then what are the name you can see? That is like subdomain. And then this like slash slash they will call fully qualified domain name. And this one is like protocol. What type of protocol you want to use, or HTTP or HTTPS. Okay, so like this, like if you go in depth about DNS, you can able to understand these things. Just reference purpose, I'm just telling you. So whenever you're saying the URL in the browser, these many things it will be included. It's not as simple. All domain names which are entering in the browser, they will contain all those things: root, top level domain, second level domain, subdomain, and fully qualified domain name and protocol. All those things will be there for each and every URL you are entering in the browser. Okay, just remember. So here, main thing, whenever you want to register some domain name, suppose I want to register ashwiktech.com. I want to have like ashwiktech.com. Where I have to go? I need to purchase that name first, because it's not that simple. You thought that name and you can utilize it. You have to purchase some domain register vendors. Like suppose we have Amazon Route 53 we have from the cloud, and GoDaddy one more third party service we have. So here from these two services or different services we have. So different service providers they have. From the domain registers you have to purchase the names. Okay, first step. And then second step, in Route 53 or in DNS, they will have DNS records will be there. Okay, what is this DNS records instance? When browser you enter this URL, how you want to route the traffic to your EC2 instances which are running on like is AWS cloud or physical servers, whatever it may be. So using this DNS records, you are can able to route and zone file. Every like name it will contain zone file. Okay, just remember. And then we have name server. It will contain name server as well and top level domain and second level of domain. All those things will be there for each and every domain name in AWS cloud as well as DNS how it will work. Because these are the basics about DNS how it will work. Okay, any doubts here? Okay, just remember how it will work DNS. That's it. Okay, and then it will contain all those things by default. Okay, so now we'll go to Route 53. How? What is the purpose of using this Route 53 in AWS Cloud? Suppose consider you have deployed three instances in three different regions. Your application is running, right? Now you want to route the traffic from the browser to your EC2 instances. I want to route, I don't want to balance. See, load balancing is nothing but you want to distribute the traffic to instances which is running on the AWS cloud. But here, the traffic which is coming from the browser, I want to route the traffic to different region instances. Then I will go for this Route 53. Okay, so Route 53 is nothing but like whenever you want to use a domain name with proper routing, you can go for this Route 53. If you don't want the name for your application, you just need to access your application via IP address. You don't need to go for this. Okay, Route 53 is like like most of the application they will use because they can't give the IP address of their application to everybody, right? It's not they can't able to memorize it every time. So they need to have some name. Using that name, they can able to access application. So here, using this Route 53, all these things are possible. I'll show you. So Route 53 is like domain name server, domain name register, domain name system. It's a DNS service. Just remember, Route 53 is nothing but DNS service. Okay. Then if I go into my account, right, let me show you how to create. Then I will explain. So here, if I go to Route 53, so here let's get started. So here register domain name, transfer domain name, create hosted zones. So if you see, once I entered this Route 53, I can able to see these many options they are providing it. Suppose you want to register some domain name. Suppose I want to register example.com. Okay, I need to go for this domain name. Suppose you have purchased somewhere the domain name you want to register with AWS Cloud. Suppose I purchase in GoDaddy. Okay. GoDaddy is like one side. So one domain name provider. So here if I purchase anything, like I have I think where is the name. Let me show you. So here so these like the GoDaddy site. I have an account in here. Okay. So these my domain name I have purchased here. Ashwiktext.com is my domain name. This is the name I want. I have purchased from here. Why I have purchased from this GoDaddy instead of this Route 53, I'll tell you later. But now, if you want to register this domain name, which I have purchased here in this Route 53, I need to go for this transfer domain. Okay. Suppose if you want to create hosted zones, that means how you want to route your traffic, then you can go for this create hosted zones. So let me tell you about this registered domain. Suppose now I'll go for registered domain name. Get started. Okay. So now if you want to purchase any name Any, suppose in your mind you got one name. Suppose you want to have, suppose like Wendy.com. Okay, Wendy.com is the name you want to purchase from the any DNS provider. You just enter the name, go for search. Okay, see here it will show you whether it has been taken or whether you want to purchase a new one. So Wendy.com is already taken by someone. It's not available for you. So other options they will give you. v-nd.com, wendystudio.net, wendystudio.com. These names are available as of now from the domain name providers. So you need to select which of the name it suits for your application. Just select that one. The pricing also it will show you. 11 USDs you have to pay per year. 11 USD means like 838 like 900 INR it will come. So this much amount you have to pay for this AWS cloud whenever you want to, if you want to purchase this name, you can able to purchase. Same thing here as well in GoDaddy. Suppose if you want to purchase a domain name. So here if I go to domain names, so if you want to purchase up to suppose domains, okay. Suppose now I want to have same Wendy.com entered. If I search, so just okay, 1 second. Now Wendy.com I need to purchase. Okay. So if I search, see here, if I want to purchase Wendy.com, 70.58 euros I have to pay. If you convert into like in INR, you will get some amount. So likewise, it will give you more options here as well. How you want to purchase, it's up to you. What is the name you want to have for your application? .com, .in, .gov. What are the name you want to purchase? You can able to purchase here. So why we have these many types of like service providers, like DNS name registers we have in the sense pricing it will be vary. So why I have purchased my domain name here in the sense compared to AWS cloud, it has less price. Okay, just remember why everyone is buying in GoDaddy in the sense compared to AWS cloud, the pricing related to domain name register is very less in GoDaddy. That is the reason people they will buy the domain names in GoDaddy, then they will register with this Route 53. So that is what I did. Okay. So suppose if you have money, if you are able to pay money for AWS cloud, then go ahead and purchase the names here if you want. Okay, so this is how you can able to purchase. Just proceed to checkout. Then this name, what are the name you have selected for your application, that will be for you only. Okay, you can able to use that name for your application. So this is how you need to purchase the names for your application. Okay, registered domain names. Suppose once you register the domain name, you can able to utilize wherever you want. Okay, it's not that simple, like it's not that you can't able to use the domain name. Okay, if you want to register a domain name, go to Route 53, go to register domains, then just register your domain name, what are the name you want. It's not that you don't need to uh, it's not that it's simple from the other vendors. Okay, its pricing will be more in this Route 53. That is how Route 53 it will work to register a domain name. Okay, then main part, if I go to hosted zones like dashboard, let me go to dashboard. Okay, so in this dashboard, first thing, for your applications you have to create hosted zone. So if I click on this hosted zone, you have to mention some name. Suppose my application which is running on this instance, I will integrate this Route 53. So now I'll provide some name. What name should I provide? So let me enter ashwik.com. Okay. So now Ashwix, I'll mention Ashwix. The domain name I want ashwix.com. Okay. Description leave it. So here in hosted zone of Route 53, we have two types of hosted zones. We have public hosted zone, private hosted zone. Like you need to think how you want to route your traffic, whether you want to go for public, that means from the browser, or you want to route within the VPC, that means within the Amazon cloud only. Like load balancer, right? We have two types of traffic will be there: public internet facing and then private, right? As same as in Route 3 as well. Public hosted zone and private hosted zone. So that is what here I covered. So in this Route 53, we have hosted zones. One is like public hosted zone, second one is like private hosted zones. In public hosted zone, suppose you are created Route 53 as public hosted zone means then you can able to route your traffic to internet. If you create hosted zone as private hosted zone, then you can't able to route traffic to public. Only within the Amazon cloud you can able to route the traffic. Okay, Route 53 it's not a free service, it's a chargeable. Per month they will charge you $0.50 per hosted zone they will charge from you. Whenever you created a hosted zone for your application, they will charge from you $0.50 per month they will charge from you. It's not a free service, just remember. So these are the two types of hosted zones we have. You need to think before creating Route 53 only. Once, whenever you're creating hosted zone, you just need to provide a domain name and then you need to select what type of routing we need, either from the browser or you want to have within the Amazon cloud only. That you have to choose. So now I have selected this public hosted zone. I'll create a hosted zone. That's it. It's just simple. Just name and then you have to select what type of hosted zone you want to create. So once it is created, if you see here, it has created two records. So in Route 53, they will call records. Okay, two records it has been created. What type of records in the sense? NS and SOA. NS in the sense name server and SOA is like state of authority. So what these two type of records they will do means this NS record name server, it will holds data related to your hosted zone. So this is the data related to your hosted zone. Suppose I want to link this Route 53 hosted zone with my GoDaddy site where I have purchased my domain name. If I want to link, I need to use these values. I will show you how to link as well. And then SOA, state of authority. This state of authority will have in detail like details related to hosted zone. It's like different details like host name, like these names will be there for your hosted zones. This by default, whenever you create hosted zone, it will create name server as well as state of authority. Both it will create automatically. You don't need to do anything. By default, whenever you create hosted zone, it will create these two things, name server and state of authority. We'll have different types of records we have that we will cover later. So here, Route 53, as I mentioned, records will be there. What is the purpose of using these records in the sense? See here, how we want to route traffic for a domain. Suppose you have Amazon.com is there. Whenever you are entering the name in the browser, how it has to be routed to your EC2 instances. That it will taken care by these records only. And in these records, we have different records like A record, WW record, C name, NS, DS, MX, PTR, SOA, text, SPF, SRV. These many record types we have in Route 53. Okay, we can able to utilize all these record types based on your requirement. Okay, so we will go one by one later. Okay, these many domain names we have. Okay, in this Route 53, basically, we have to utilize these record types. We'll see what this A record will do, what WW record it will do, what is this CNAM record it will do, what is this NS name server record. All those details we'll see later. So now I have this hosted zone which is created. So here I haven't purchased any domain name. So that is the reason I can't able to see domain names. Instead of this one, I have purchased my domain name here. So in GoDaddy, I have purchased my domain name. So let me go back to my domain name. So this is my domain name. Okay. So this is my domain name. So in this domain name as well, you can see overview how much I am paying. The $20 I am paying per year, and DNA domain names records will be there. So what is this name server? All those things I can able to see here. Okay. So I can able to see the records as well. Suppose if I click on the records, I don't have any records as of now. But if I go to my name servers, I can able to see my name servers here. Okay, now what I have to do means I need to register my hosted zone which I have created here to my domain name which is available here. So what you have to do means you need to copy these values. Whenever you want to link Route 53 with third party domain name registers, we have to take these values. These values has to be registered here. So suppose wherever you have purchased the domain name, okay, so go inside that domain name. Okay, go inside the domain name. So in this domain name you can able to see all the details. Okay, what is this private email address, all these things you can able to see. Okay, now if you go into DNA domain name, like like names here, if you go to name servers, any domain name registers, just remember some domain name providers, they will give you settings option. In that settings option, go to name servers, just change the names. So now what I have to do means I'll copy one by one. Just copy this name. I'm linking Row 53 with my domain name where I have purchased. Okay, I'm just pasting it. I'm just copying this one. All these names has to be integrated here, otherwise it will not link. And .org. So just save it. So just simple. Wherever you have purchased, okay, the domain names in that domain name register, either GoDaddy, whatever it may be, wherever you have purchased, go to that domain name. In that name servers one will there. In that name servers, you need to register the name which is related to your hosted zone. This name server has all the details related to your name hosted zone. These values has to be linked here. Then only you can able to connect this switchtech.com whenever you are entering something. Okay. So now what I will do means I will create another record. So I need to create a record. Suppose dev first consider app dot I should suppose I need to create a record. I'm giving some name. It will offend with app.ashwiktext.com. So a record type, I will tell you what is this a record type. So let me copy my IP address of this instance. I will paste it here. Okay, so just leave it. I'll tell you what it is. Just create a record. So okay, now I have created my record here. So which you can see here, app.ashwik.com. So this is my domain name as of now. So where I'm routing the traffic to my EC2 instance, which is running on the AWS cloud. So now if I copy this name, okay, if I copy this name, if I go ahead and paste it here, enter, 1 second, it is taking some time. It will take 20 to 15 minutes. So if I type swig.com as well, I'll be able to open. So after a few minutes, it will get activated automatically. Okay. DNS servers within 60 seconds. Okay. View the status. So it is in sync. Now let's see whether it will route the traffic or not. Go to new window. It is taking some time. Basically, whenever you created a hosted zone, you need to create a records. So in that records, you have to mention like where you want to route the traffic. So you can create n number of records. It's not that single record you have to create. As I mentioned, record types. If I click on record type, right? So here you can see these many record types we have. How you want to route your traffic, that you have to choose. Suppose you have selected a record type. What it will do means it will route the traffic to any IPv4 address or any AWS resources. So now I have created one record with a record with IP address I have mentioned. Whenever you want to have route your traffic based on IP address, single IP address or multiple IP address, only IPv4 address. As I mentioned, IPv4 address if you want to route, then go for a record type. Suppose you have IPv6 address, you want to route the traffic to, then you can go for AAA record. Suppose when you can go CNAME record type instance, suppose in browser you are entering amazon.com. In background, you want to route the traffic to different domain name. Then you can go for this CNAME record type. Routes traffic to another domain name and some AWS resources as well. So whenever you want to route your traffic to another domain name, then you can go for the CNAME. Suppose you're looking for mail-based applications, you can go for MX. If you're working for mail-based applications with sending and receiving the mails, text protocol, you can go for TXT. So like this, different options we have in Route 53. What type of record you want to use? So mainly just remember A record, WW record, and CNAME and NS name server. So these are the four things we have to remember. Okay. A record is nothing but routes traffic to IPv4 address. WW record is nothing but routes traffic to IPv6 address. CNAME is like routes traffic to another domain. Okay. I will show you how it will be routed this traffic to another domain as well. Okay. Just remember. So it needs some time to activate this Route 53. That is the reason I'm not able to access my application from the browser. So once it is activated, I can able to access my application using that URL. Okay. So these many record types we have in this Route 53. Just remember these many records. You don't need to remember all these things, but A record, WW record, and CNAME and NS. These four records you have to remember and what is the difference. When to use these records. Okay. So like this, you can able to create n number of record types. By default, it will create NS record type and state of authority. Okay. By default, it will be created. So now let me try it once again whether I'm able to access or not. No. Why? So let me delete my record for now. So record. So let me 1 second. Let me delete this hosted zone. Let me create new one. Okay. Create hosted zone. So let me use this name on instead of that. Okay. This name sweettext.com hosted zone. Just create. Okay. Now I have created like hosted zone with my domain name where I have purchased. So now I want to link this Route 53 with my domain name where I have purchased. So if I let me go here, every time whenever you created hosted zone, the names it will change. Okay, just remember. So what I will do means I'll copy each and every one. Oh, sorry. Okay, now I have saved. See, just simple. In Route 53, Route 53 is like DNS service. Okay, DNS service in AWS Cloud. Okay, instead of buying my domain name for my application, I bought this domain name from this GoDaddy. Okay, this GoDaddy I have purchased. So now I want to link this Route 53 with my GoDaddy means I need to use hosted zone details. These names our details I'm using to link my GoDaddy with Route 53 so that I can able to route the traffic from the browser to my applications which is running on AWS Cloud. So now I will create one more record here app.text.com. I will provide my IP address of my application. So now I just create a record. Okay, I have created a record. So now I don't want to access my application using this IP address. I want to have some name. So that is the reason I'm using this Route 53. So now using this name, I can able to access my application. Using this name, I can able to access my application. So go to browser, just paste it. So now if you see, now I can able to access my application from the browser. How means using this name. Instead of remembering IP address, I can able to remember this name app.ashwiktext.com. If I enter in the browser, I can able to get the response. How? Because it is getting routed the traffic from app.ashwiktext.com to my IP address which is running on the AWS cloud. It's just simple routing. I'm just taking the request from the browser. I'm just routing to one IP address. That IP address is nothing but my instance. In this instance, my application is running. So this is how this simple routing it is work. Suppose you have one more EC2 instance. You can able to add in this record also. Two IP address you can mention. Based on the time you have mentioned, it will get routed to, it will switch the traffic from one instance to other instance. That I will show you tomorrow, don't worry. It's just a simple routing now. I just taken a request from the browser using this name and then I have forwarded to one IP address. In this IP address, that means in this server, my application is running. I can able to get the response here. Now I'm not entering IP address in the browser. I'm entering the name. Okay, this is how you can able to forward the traffic using this Route 53. This like domain name service in AWS Cloud. you can create n number of records. Suppose you want to route the traffic to some domain names, you can go for CNAME. If you want to route the traffic to relate to IPv6, go for this one, WWW record type. So you can choose any type of record type based on your requirements. It's not that you have to use only a record type. Okay. So just let me cover theory on this record types here. Okay. So then we'll complete this one. So suppose when you want to map like to any IPv4 address, then you can go for this a record type. IPv4 address only, then only you can go for this a record type. When you want to map to IPv6 address, then you can go for this WAW record type. When you need to go this CNAME in the sense, when you want to map host name, that means whenever one host name you are entering the browser to another host name or any AWS resources, you can go for this CNAME record. Okay, just remember, if you want to map one domain name to another domain name, you need to go for this CNAME. Okay, when you can go for this name server instance, name server by default will be created in Route 53. It will contain name server's details related to hosted zone. It will contain. So these four things you have to remember: a record, when to use, WW record type, when to use, and CNAME and NS. Okay, so in this also we have CNAME is like main, because it is taking some domain name from the browser. Suppose this is my domain name from the browser. Okay, but in background I want to route this traffic to another domain name. Then we have to utilize CNAME record type. And one more option we have, alias record type we have. So alias also it will do same operation. But what is the difference between this CNAME and alias record type in the sense? So when you see hostname to hostname, you can go for this one. Only for non-root domains. That means if it is not root domain, suppose my root domain is like blah blah.com or whatever it may be. If I want to route to some another domain name, suppose abc.com, then we can go for this CNAME. It like when you want to route both root as well as non-root domain, you can go for this alias record type. It is also same, but what is the difference means points a host name to another host name. But here host name to AWS resource or domain name or root or non-root domain names, it will able to route the traffic. I will show you the option. Okay, so if I let me complete. So if I go here in domain names, if I create a record, suppose if I'm creating dev.ashwiktech.com, here if I go to any CNAME, I need to mention another domain name. So whenever you're entering the application from the browser, you will access via this URL dev.ashwiktext.com. So now you want to map this request to another domain name again. You need to mention that name here. Then it will route the traffic from which is coming from dev.ashwiktech.com to another domain name which you are mentioning here. Suppose if you don't want to use this CNAME, then you can alias is there. Just click on this alias. So here, if you want to route the traffic to any AWS resource which is running on the AWS cloud, you can choose that records. These many options they have support on which region. All those things you have to select. Based on that, you can able to route the traffic. I will show you practical. We will create one load balancer. Load balancer has domain name. As you remember, whenever you are accessing the application using load balancer, you will accessing via URL, right? That same URL we will be using it here as well. Okay, that URL we can able to use for CNAME and alias record type. Okay, that I will show you tomorrow. Don't worry. So these records mainly for the routing. How you want to route the traffic from the browser to your AWS resources or services, whatever it may be, you have to how you want to route that you have to think when you are creating a record. What type of record you want to use? CNAME A record, WWW record, NS alias record type. So these are the things. And main thing, if you see, whenever I'm creating a record type, I can able to see record name, record type, and we'll provide some value. And then you can able to see TTL. So what is this TTL? Okay. So that what is the TTL means? Time to live. Here, TTL means time to live. Time to live, what it will do means basically, so whenever you're accessing application from the browser, first time, see, in this browser, if I'm accessing application here, Amazon.com, I have accessed multiple times. I can get the response within very less fraction of seconds. I can able to get the response. How it is possible in the browser. Suppose if I'm accessing some other application, I'll go to here. I'll mention Ashwik.com. First time I'm accessing this application, I'm entering this one. So if you enter correct URL, uh, another, okay, suppose blah blah.com, blah blah car is there. So now maybe I have searched this one as well. Let me enter. So now consider this blah blah dot car.com. I'm entering first time here in browser. So it has taken some time to load this page. Okay, why? Because first time whenever you're accessing some domain names from the browser, it will take some time. So whenever you entered something, it will go to like wherever your domain name was registered. From there, it has to get the response. So it will take some time. There will be fraction of second as delays only. But first time only it will take that time. But second time you don't get that time. Why? Because there will be some time. Time to live will be there. There will be cache will be there. That means background memory will be there. In that memory, the request which you have entered in the browser, it will store. Whenever user is trying to access that same URL again, it will not take that time. From that memory, it will give you the response. Suppose here, if I go to again, if I try blah blah again, see, it will not see. Suppose this is my application. Okay, so this is my application. If I entered first time, it has taken some time. If I enter again, it will not take that much time. Within less fraction of seconds, it will give you the response. How? In the sense, in this browser, in background, there will be some cache memory will be there. In that memory, all the requests which you are entering in the browser, it will get stored. If it is a first time, it will go to the domain name servers, it will take the response. Then whichever the response is got first time, it will store it. Whenever user is trying to enter in background and second time or third time, it will use that cache memory to give the response. So that much time it will get reduced. That also you can able to set for your application. How much time you want to create for your applications and all. In this TTL you can able to mention timing. This is like 300 seconds for this is by default. If you want to go for 1 hour, you can go for 1 day. You want to go for that means that cache memory. If you want to keep for 1 day, you can go for this one. Like this, you can able to mention. Suppose if I mention 20 seconds, only for the 20 seconds only that cache memory it will store. After 20 seconds, if you are trying to access that same application, again it will create new request. Just remember, whenever you are entering anything from the browser, there will be cache memory will be there. For each and every application, there will be cache memory. So that cache memory expiration time can be set via this TTL, time to live. Okay. Or what are the timing they have mentioned? Suppose Amazon.com is there. They might have mentioned 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. After 3 days, if you are trying to access application from this same browser, again it will create new request. It will not use that cache memory. That time you can able to mention here time to live option. In this time to live, you can mention how much time you want to keep your application cache. That you can able to control via this TTL. Okay, and then we have routing policies. How you want to route? Suppose your application is running on two different regions, how you want to route, or your application is running on different regions, but users are accessing in different from regions. I want to route the traffic to that particular data center only. How you will route. All those things will be controlled by this routing policy. We'll go in depth on this routing policy. Don't worry. For now, just remember how to register a domain name. If you have purchased the domain name from third parties, how to register that with Route 53, and how to create a records. What are the record types we have? Just these things you have to remember. So it's just simple. Whenever you want to use domain name service in Devops Cloud, we need to go for this Route 53. Route 53 port number 53 only. The name itself 53. If somebody asks you what is the port number for this Route 53, in the sense 53 only. 53 is the port number for this Route 53. Okay. So by default, whenever you create a hosted zone, two records will be created: NS record and state of authority. Okay, by default. So whenever you want to integrate this Route 53 with third party like vendors where you have purchased the domain name, we need to use this name server values. These values you have to utilize to register. Then only you can link Route 53 with third party vendors wherever you have purchased the domain names. Then you can able to route the traffic easily. And then in these hosted zones, we have two types of hosted zone: public and private. Which one you want to utilize, that you have to think before creating hosted zone in Route 53. So these are the basics about Route 53. And then tomorrow I will show you. I will create in multiple regions. I will create EC2 instances. I will deploy same application, and then I will try to route the traffic from the browser to that EC2 instances which are running in different regions. That practical we will see tomorrow. Okay, just remember what is this Route 53, basically how DNS works. Okay, and then what is this Route 53, and how to create hosted zones, how to register domain names in AWS Cloud. All those things, just remember this one. See, it's not that you don't need to you need to buy domain names from this GoDaddy only. I felt GoDaddy is like pricing wise a little bit good. That is the reason I went to for GoDaddy. With this name, ashwiktech.com is there. For this name, pricing is very less from this GoDaddy instead of this Amazon.com. If you feel that Amazon.com is like very less price, go ahead and purchase some domain names here only. Okay, so that you can able to do. So these are all about basics about Route 53. Then tomorrow we'll see some practical as well as routing policies we have in this Route 53. Okay, thank you so much. If you have anything, you can ask me, otherwise you can leave.